Good afternoon to one and all. Respected guest, Dr. N.D. Misal, sir, Principal, Sweris College of Sweris College, Sweri Polytechnic College. And one more guest we have with us today, Dr. Mithun Maniar, Principal, Sweri Pharmacy College. And today's and tomorrow's resource persons, Dr. Dipti Tamboli, HOD Electrical Engineering Department, Dr. Vidya Sirsagar Madam, Assistant HOD Civil Engineering Department, Dr. Somnath Tigale, HOD CSC Department, Dr. Praveen Dhawale, Assistant Professor in Mechanical, Dr. Ranjit R. Gidde, Dean Admin, and all deans, all HODs, and all principals of other colleges, faculty, and dear students. I, Dr. Mahesh Matpati, take an opportunity to welcome you all for a two-day IIC Innovation Ambassador Training Series session for promoting research and innovation. So now, on behalf of Sweris College of Engineering and on behalf of this IIC Innovation Cell, I welcome you all for this two-day FDP session. So now, before going to start with our opening remarks, so as usual, like we have to do the Deep Prajwalan. So here virtual Deep Prajwalan we will perform. So let us perform the virtual Deep Prajwalan.
आरोग्यं धन संपदा शत्रुबुद्धि आशाय दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते। इस दीप को प्रज्वलित करके हम सारे वातावरण को शुभ और कल्याणकारी करें। इस दीपक की ज्योति से सारे शत्रुभाव मिट जाएं। इस पावन दीप को हमारा नमस्कार। इस दीप को प्रज्वलित करके हम सारे वातावरण को शुभ और कल्याणकारी करें। इस दीपक की ज्योति से सारे शत्रुभाव मिट जाएं। इस पावन दीप को हमारा नमस्कार।
Thank you. So, thank you one and all. Now we will start with opening remarks. Now I request Dr. Mithun Maniar sir, Principal, Sweri Pharmacy College. So please give the opening remarks.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon to all the dignitaries and all the staff members who were present here for this IIC Institute Innovation Council related Ambassador Orientation Series. So, in this opening remark, I am going to just give you a brief idea about IIC ambassador and what is exactly what is expected from the ambassador. So, the basic idea behind the IIC is to develop an ecosystem which will transform a basic idea of a student or a staff member, which is unprocessed, into a viable and sustainable product. And from that product, we have to uh, further scale up that product to a startup level. Okay, so this is what exactly we have to do in this IIC. The whatever unprocessed or basic idea is there, that we have to develop, we have to scale up to the startup level. So when you think about startup and all, so the ecosystem is needed to process an idea and to develop a startup kind of thing. So IIC ambassador has to play a key function in this. It is like nurturing a small plant into a big banyan tree. Why I am quoting here this example is, while means nurturing a small plant to a banyan tree, we have to consider about all the things like weather, nutrients, availability of water, soil quality, and all these things. So in similar manner, whatever ideas we are getting from student or staff, so that idea will we have to think over all the aspects of this idea, like market, price, its probable price, whatever we sustainable idea it is having, we are having with us. So that transformation is needed here. And another aspect of IIC is it is very important in the accreditation or in this era of competition. Basically, IIC, it is what do you call in ATL ranking. It is having very important aspect in case of research oriented process, whatever we have followed in our institute. So overall, this ambassador has to play a key role, a key cameo in this overall process of IIC. And with this, I look forward for the success of this 2 days ambassador series, training series, and I give my I am indeed grateful to the organizers for giving me this platform and inviting me. And thank you for listening me. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Mithun Maniar, sir, for your opening remarks. Now, I request Dr. Nitin Misal, sir, Principal, Sweri Polytechnic College, to give the keynote address. Misal, sir.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So, good afternoon. And I first of all congratulate ICC for starting this venture, because this is necessary in professional college, because everybody, they know that whatever task they are having, one first task is teaching, but second aspect, what to do, there is question mark always in front of everybody. So this platform gives you the right idea that what exactly we have to do and where we have to go. And once we are knowing all the notions, then we can walk on that path in good manner. But if you are not knowing at all where to go, always there is a question mark, where to go, how to go, and what to do. So this platform gives us a very good thing, whereby what exactly we have to do than our teaching thing. So we are coming across. So main issue whenever we are starting the research. So first part is how to go ahead with that. So ideas are there with maximum people, but to just nurture this idea and then to go ahead with our idea, and convert this idea into project, and then project into product. So their issues are happening. And I think if we are giving ideas, and then if you are able to convert it into project and product, so maximum whatever the thing behind this ICC club will come into reality. and this is the requirement actually. So now in near to us RHRDF center is there. So I think once it was in incubation stage, and thereafter in project mode, it was very nice happening. And thereafter, I think what to do regarding this RHRDF, there was a question mark. So I think our student and faculty, if they are taking small thing from that, and if they are going ahead, I think problem will be not arising that what to do. This particular question will be removed if we are keeping our eyes open and we are seeing towards each and every activity which is happening nearby. So I think problem will be minimizing. And actually, I'll give some example regarding this. Uh, what simple ideas are there to proceed with? Small examples actually, way back it was put in front of us. So I think 5 6 team we visited Pune to Sekhar Kulkarni sir. So he's having his own industry, and then we come across that how you started this industry in this center place of Pune. So thereafter he started that I am IITN, and then thereafter once I completed IITN, IIT. So there we taught actually how to proceed with our idea, and how to generate idea, and how to get the thing whereby we can succeed in our life. And that we have to we are not teaching to our student that way, he was saying. So what simple thing he did? So he just see the India's export and import things, or whatever products we are importing, or whatever products we are exporting, and from that he come across that. So imported atoms are much more than exported atom, and means what we are giving much to other countries than what we are gaining from them. So he said that why it is happening. He said that simple reason behind that is patent. So once this patent is in existence, we cannot manufacture. But once this patent will be expired, so we were not knowing till that after 20 years this patent was expiring, and once it expires, it is open for society, total world. So anybody can manufacture that particular idea, and then claim was not there from the owner of that patent. So this way thing he told, and then what he said thereafter was interesting. So he said that I am just searching that which products are on the verge of completion of this patent, and then this product completed patents he is studying over there. And once he come across that out of these 5 6 whatever he studied atoms, out of that some customers are there in Pune itself. He is visiting those customers, and after visiting those customers, he is saying that whatever price right now you are paying, I'll give within a half and price of same thing, and then you just give me advance, so that I can give you prototype. And once this prototype is succeeding in that particular company, then order he is taking from that company. And that company also, they are very happy because they are getting same product with half price. So that way he, and still he said that I am earning 100% profit by selling that product to half and price. So just imagine that how much money we are actually giving to other countries, whereby profit margin is so huge. And then this particular task, he said that you teach student, and if a student is coming across one product, at least his life is settled then. So that way this particular process is easy. I think here we can go ahead with this idea, and if you are searching per department 1 2 3 whatever ideas are there, and then through students if you are converting it, I think whatever dream front
Hello.
of us, that particular college will
Vishal
always
sir, your voice is breaking.
this particular college must recognize for the research oriented activity, and through this I think problem will be minimized. So with this urge that I think there should not be any worry to any faculty in our institute, that they are struggle with idea. They are always struggle with how to convert this idea into product through project. So this hurdle will be minimizing and it will be vanishing, and everybody will have his vision, clear vision, to achieve his goal and to achieve our college goals, our institute goal, or our trust goal. With this remark, I will stop here. Thank you very much for giving me chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sir, for your valuable guidance and the ideas you have shared. Uh, Thank you
He
once
has
again.
not only mentioned as an opening remark, he has given us a direction to the Innovation Council, how we can move ahead for to convert the products and all those things. Thank you very much, Mr. Sir. Matpati sir, you
Thank
can
you.
proceed now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now, uh, as per the plan, we have just planned like 2 days schedule is there. So schedule is already I have displayed here. So you can go through that. Like we have total 2 days. First day we have two sessions, and the second day we have three sessions. So now we are moving towards the end of this inaugural session. Now I request Dr. Tigle sir for giving vote of thanks.
Thank you,
Sir.
Mukti sir.
Hello.
Ah,
Yes, madam.
Okay, continue.
Madam, you want to say something? You can. After that, I can join.
No, continue. I thought the vote of thank will be at the end of the
No,
presentations.
we are closing inaugural session here. Then we will start with the presentations.
Okay. Proceed,
Okay.
sir.
Very warm afternoon to one and all. So we come to the part of an end, but I will not say as an end because it is the start of the actual session. So
Yes.
I would like to say thanks to our beloved principal, founder secretary of Sweri family, it's Professor Dr. B.P. Runge sir, for giving us an opportunity to organize this kind of sessions within a very short period of notice. Thank you, sir. I would like to say thanks to our today's eminent personalities, Dr. Mithun Maniar sir, for giving a very valuable opening remark. I would like to say thanks to Professor Dr. Nitin Misal sir for enlightening us with your valuable knowledge and sharing it into experience of what you have done, your experience into our knowledge. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to say thanks to all our speaker for accepting the invitations and allowing us to schedule the session with a very short notice of period. Thank you one and all. At the last but not the least, all my dear participants, thank you for your active involvement, and with the permission of a chair, I declare here inaugural session is over. Within a 5 minutes, with the same link, we will start with our first session. That will be by Dr. Dipti Tambuli ma'am. Thank you one and all. Thank you all. Over to you, Patpati.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. As per the plan, we have a 5 minutes break here. So again, we will start with the expert session day one after 5 minutes. Thank you. Tambole madam.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Now I am going to close my presentation. You start your presentation. Then I will give your
Okay.
introduction and we will start.
Okay, sir.
हाँ sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You are guidance only. Okay. No.
Matpati, sir.
Yes, madam.
I am unable to share.
No, I have stopped my presentation. Now you try once again. Yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam. Yes.
We'll start after just 2 minutes.
Okay.
Who is going to start the session?
Yes, Tambol madam is there, madam. First session.
Madam, what is
Uh,
problem?
Can we start now?
Yes, please start.
Yes,
She
madam.
has already
Yes.
started her presentation. You can start.
Okay. No, as we have, okay, no problem. So once again, I welcome you all for the session 1 on the topic I&E initiatives and programs for Ministry of Education for Higher Education Institutes by Dr. Tambole madam. So before going to start her presentation, let me give the introduction of Dr. Tambole madam. Dr. Mrs. Dipti Tamboli, working as head of the department and associate professor in Department of Electrical Engineering, Sweris College of Engineering, Pandharpur. She has completed her BE and MTech in Electrical Engineering with specialization in control system from Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli. She has completed PhD from SDGS Institute of Engineering and Technology, Nanded. Her area of expertise is control system, power quality, and power electronics. She has also cracked GATE in 2013. She is having total 16 years of experience, out of which 2 years of industrial experience in Mahindra Eckers Consulting Engineering Limited, Mumbai, and 14 years of teaching experience in Sweris College of Engineering, Pandharpur. She has published 9 research papers, 3 international journals, and 6 papers in international and national conference. She has delivered a lecture at various colleges and attended more than 40 FDPs and STDPs to upgrade the skills in engineering and administration. Apart from head of the department, she is handling various administrative responsibilities as institute budget coordinator, electrical maintenance in charge for Sweri campus. She is member of IEEE, IEI, and life member of IST and a statutory bodies such as BOZ and internal compliance committee at institute level. So this is a brief biodata of today's speaker, Dr. Dipti Tambole madam. I welcome you madam and I request you to start the session.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for nice introduction. So before actually going to the session, I would like to say something that I'm very thankful to management, especially Ronge sir and IIC coordinator for giving chance to present few ideas, innovative ambassador program, because we near about 8 to 10 faculty for 1 month innovation training program under the ISA activity, and whatever we have activity that say means that knowledge we are going to share with you. So the topic that is specially allocated to me is innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives and program of Ministry of Education for Higher Educational Institution. So already in our institute innovation cell, that is IIC institute innovation cell has founded or created last 2 to 3 years back, but still to enhance that enhance the activities of innovations and develop the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in higher educational institutes, we are conducting these sessions, because whenever we are saying that we are developing the culture of innovation, that means research or new ideas comes in the picture. And whenever these ideas we are presenting to somebody, presenting or generating money to someone, that means entrepreneurship is going to play an important role. That means innovation and entrepreneurship, these two ideas are going hand in hand. And there are some initiatives started by Ministry of Education for higher educational institute, because in basically in higher educational institutes, the students, that means major stakeholders are the students. They are of near about 18 years old, and they know or they can capture the things very fastly. So with this, I will start with. So first, before going to explain exactly what are the ideas or what are the various activities that have been implemented by Ministry of Education, before that we will before going to that, we will highlight somewhat on what is innovation. Innovation could be defined as converting the ideas into the new improved product, process or services. And with respect to that, while discussing this idea, we are also discussing that how we can implement these ideas at our institute level, because whatever ideas are initiated by Ministry of Education, that idea how we can implement at our institute, because everything will not happen in one day only. This is ongoing and step by step going process. But at this stage, at the starting stage, how we can focus, or we can more focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. But before going to focusing on that, we have to develop an ecosystem for this concept of innovation and entrepreneurship. So in short, innovation is converting our ideas into improved product, process and service. So whenever we are generating these ideas in terms of either product, in terms of either process or in terms of service, we are sharing these ideas to the marketplace, or we are making marketing of the same, and thus we are translating our scientific knowledge for converting it into product, service and offering economical growth of the country as well as of the societal development. And we know that India is the country where most of the persons are global innovation hubs of youth of our country, and therefore especially in higher technical education or higher education educational institutes. So these higher educational institutes are playing a crucial role in creating a sustainable innovative ecosystem. And therefore, ideally, all HEI should have a comprehensive and functional mechanism to convert research into innovation. Because when we are doing our MTech and PhD, everybody is doing research, and that research is limited to just publishing the papers. But publishing papers, filing the patent and doing the innovations and making that innovations into a generating some economy, these two concepts are quite different. So this ecosystem will encourage, inspire and nurture young students by exposing them to new ideas, process, resulting in innovative activities in their formative years. So what are the innovation process cycles? So whenever a certain idea came in the mind, that creative ideas has to be converted to innovation challenge by carrying out the brainstorming sessions. And whenever this idea kept in or stuck in our mind, this idea should be implemented by working collaboratively with other members, also members of the institution or members external members like industry persons, or the third member is our societal things. So these whenever idea came in our mind, these ideas should be work collaboratively. Once we will go on designing these ideas, then we have to go for scientific evaluation. That means certain theories, laws, or whatever knowledge we are studying in our engineering background, that way we have to study that innovative idea came in our mind. That idea has to be compiled by using scientific evaluations. Once this scientific way we go for designing, then next stage is testing and developing stage. So if once we follow out the testing, that means whatever
Amol,
results
madam,
we
may I
are,
interrupt?
huh,
I think you are not presenting slides.
slides are not there.
Only your first slide is displayed to all.
Okay.
Sambhavi madam, presentation is there, but only first slide is visible.
Huh.
You are not changing the slides.
एक second. Is it now?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Nobody has interrupted me till 3-4
We
slides.
thought you are.
I have shared the screen, but okay,
Ah.
ठीक है.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So next stage is testing and developing stage. Once whatever product or whatever idea or prototype modeling we are doing, that model has been tested and implemented. Once the model has been implemented, the next stage is to review the process. And after reviewing the process, we can conclude that whether that idea is a new idea that can be patentable, that can be patentable or published, or this idea or whatever prototype has been developed, whether that prototype model can be go for marketing term. That means developing new idea, filing the patent or publishing the papers is one sort of innovation thing. And second thing is, once that idea or model can be marketable, then we can go for entrepreneurship. That means innovation and entrepreneurship are going hand with each other, hand to hand with each other. So what is the entrepreneurship mindset? So whenever we are thinking that entrepreneurship means forming a business or for generating an industry or making a startup which will be involve so much money, etc. But it's not like that. Whenever we are talking this entrepreneurship in terms of higher technical, higher education systems, in that we can, at the earlier stage, you can go with just a small startup model. So for going to this startup model or entrepreneurship, what should be the mindset of that person? So that person should be, means why we are discussing all these things? Because the key role or major role who is going to implement this innovation and entrepreneurship culture in the students, that are nothing but we teachers. And therefore, we have to identify such students who have entrepreneurship mindset, because every person cannot become entrepreneur, or rather every people cannot go for research. Means for that, teacher's role is that to identify such students who have such type of mindset, or if not, we have to develop the mindset amongst the students so that they can go for startups. So the first quality that is in the mindset required for entrepreneurship is they should be curious and observant. So even though these things we can observe during our practical sessions also, how the students are asking the questions. And whenever we are starting any business, that time the nature of the person should he should be a risk taker. Because when you want to generate money, or when you want to earn the money, that time, unless and until you take the risk, you cannot go for entrepreneurship mindset or startup mindset. So that person should be ready to do the experiments. Then he should get disturbed by problems around. That means as he's observant, he should find the problems near about him, and he should gather the team support. So he should be ready with working in the team. And again, he should be able to problem solving attitude, because these are the attributes actually for entrepreneurship mindset. And as per our POs, uh, program outcomes, we are generating 12 POs defined by AICT. That means all these skills are there that we are learning in our regular academic syllabus also. Because generally the mindset of our teachers, because teachers are going to develop or inculcate the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship among the students, but our nature of a teacher's mindset is that we are so busy in our daily academic activities, and we no thanks, we are not interested in doing all this, because this requires money, etc. We have to go beyond the time work, we have to go, and therefore government, and that's why government has formed the policies for higher educational institutes to means these policies has to be implemented so that we can develop a new perspective to look the things. So there is a idiom said by Pinchot that entrepreneurs are the dreamers those who take hands-on responsibility for creating innovations of any kind within an organization. So we need to become innovators and entrepreneurs to make this change happen. So you will ask that what is the difference between an entrepreneur and intrapreneur? So the main difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur is that entrepreneur is an employee, and entrepreneurs is the founder who designs, launches, and manages a new business, which almost always start out a small business. Therefore, it is obvious that everybody, as I said, that everybody cannot become entrepreneur. That means they should become entrepreneur, because they should work somewhere. They should become an employee. So few of them may become employee, few can work innovatively, and few can go with their own startups. So what we are expecting a new outcome only by trying new things. So, and with respect to that, government has started new activities to develop the culture or to nurture the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. So first is promoting entrepreneur mindset and a culture of experimentation. So even though what we are doing in our regular research, so many times we get fail, but still we try, and so doing the experimentation. So generating the culture of experimentations is one of the role of developing this or implementing this strategy. Second is making the students aware that mistakes are acceptable, because sometimes due to shyness, so if we are investing this much money and if a result will not come, then there will be an economical burden, and this will be the mindset of the students. Therefore, they always hesitate or shy to give their ideas to the innovation activities. Therefore, we have to make the students aware that mistakes may happen, whatever, if certain product development they will go for, and if the results will not become, because generally the students' nature is that exam oriented. So if my project's output will not be there, whether I will get marks or not. So in certain cases, we have to encourage the students that even output will not be there, but if they have done so many experimentations, then in such situations, guide know that what efforts that student have taken. So in such situation, we have to encourage and motivate the students that mistakes may be acceptable, but they have to go for a different new way thinking. Again, third thing is allocation time and resources for experimenting, iterating, and executing new ideas. And because every case there is a time limit for, even though for completing their project also. So with respect to that time span, as well as whatever available resources are there with the institutes, and if that resources are not there, then we can go for working collaboratively with the other institutes where we have done the MOUs. So the Government of India initiative to nurture the spirit of innovation among the academic institution and translate these into product, process, and services for has manifest into two policy generations by government in 2019, that is National Innovation and Startup Policy, and second is the intellectual property right in academic institution. So these two policies has been developed or initiative by government, that is NIST. So what are the schemes or what are the various activities that are going on going under these policies, NISP? So first thing is last 4 years our hackathon competition is come into existing. So where students can present their ideas, software in terms of software edition, hardware edition. There are again a second hackathon is ASEAN SN India hackathon, again Singapore hackathon. These are the various hackathon competitions where student can generate or present their innovative ideas. Then another is Triathlon is started this year, Triathlon, because due to pandemic, many cases hardware presentation may not be possible. So in such cases, they can present their simulations idea also, and that is named as a Triathlon 2021. Then another is, and all these ideas or all these competitions can be carried out under the seal of Institute Innovation Council. Institute Innovation Council. Again, Yukti 2.0 is mainly used for innovation repository, that is by pulling innovation and startup for technology development at the institutions. So these are various competitions where students can participate. Again, there is ISC's, one of the program is there, that is mentor and mentee program for ISC institutions. So the institutions who have ISC cell in their institutions, they can go for mentor and mentee program. So the institution who have scored more than 4 score, they can act as a mentor, and these mentor institution can work and guide mentee institutes who have scored somewhat less score in their innovation activities. Then there are another series, impact lecture series program is also developed under the ISC cell of AICT, which will support financially to those institutions who are far away from vibrant ecosystem. That means like our college, which is established in the rural area. So there, these activities can be carried out, and for that, a support system, financial support, as well as these persons can conduct a lecture series program for the institution means faculties as well as students. So near about such 500 institutions have applied for such sessions, such programs. Then International Innovation Contest is one of the program where students will get financial support, mentorship, and training from Ministry of Education. Then, so while doing all these stages, because as a ISC coordinator, Shivsagar madam may be knowing well that whatever product or ideas we are presented by the students, that have also various stages, and with respect to that stages, our institute can get the recognition of pre-incubation center or incubation center. Now at our stage, whatever activities we have done in last 2 years, in that we have gone up to certain cases idea development, certain cases prototype development. So there we have a chance to get pre-incubation center in such situation. So that means in short, every higher education educational institute should play a role of enabler, and they should promote teachers as well as students for doing or participating in various such competitions. Again, UGC, AICT, IIC has also decided various competitions for the students. So MOE has decided to develop an ecosystem for which culture is required. because now last 2 years we have started with IISc cell. So again, we have to develop a lot of culture so that most of the students who are passing out, they will become innovators or entrepreneurs. For that, we have to develop the ecosystem for the same. And again, generating ecosystem will not only play the role, because we have to preserve the documentation systematically. Even IITs or NITs fail also in maintaining the data, and therefore last 1 year we have developed one strategy under IISc that whenever any event for our department has been conducted, we are keeping all the data in terms of Facebook, WhatsApp, and all these activities. So all the programs are whatever programs just now I have told you, that programs are intervened in 4 categories. First category is national platform. In that national platform, that means national platform means we are giving platform to the students to participate in various competitions. That means a Smart India Hackathon, Asian India Hackathon, Singapore Hackathon, or Toycathon will come under the category of national platform. Then policy intervention is NISP. NISP is one of the means innovation and startup policy, national innovation and startup policy, as well as ARIA will help in streamlining the ecosystem to the institute. So second role is, whenever we are developing this culture, there are 4 stages. One is giving the platform to the students to participate in various activities. Second is the policy intervention. That means policy has been decided, government have made certain policies. Now that policy, how to implement at our institute level, considering all constraints of finance as well as local area, means rural area, or industry exposures. Considering all these constraints, how we can develop the policy at our institute level, we have to think for. Third thing is innovative courses. Under the innovative courses, students have having innovative ideas and business plans can join with this course at innovation and entrepreneurship program. So institution have incubation center approved by AICTE, where they can go for startup idea, prototype development, and business model development. Third thing is hand-holding. Hand-holding means we have to work hand in hand. That means we have to go for collaborative working. For that, certain training programs has been developed, and as I told you, mentor-mentee. So certain institutes who have already developed the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship, they can act as a mentor, and the newly developing institution, they can as a mentee, and we can collaboratively work by using their resources also and their infrastructural facility also. Then Indian innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. So what is the case? Just I will brief about it. So the engineering graduates, are, most of the graduates or educational qualification are from engineering graduates and PGs, where MBA is having scope of 25% and others are 25%. So most of the engineering students can go for startup, means the scope I am telling you for developing the ecosystem, that engineering graduates can go more for this innovation and entrepreneurship activities. Again, most of the student startups, near about in 2016, 350 institutions have participated for students startups. In 2017, more than 450 institutions have participated in startup activities. Again, for age distribution, if we see ecosystem, so near about the median age are mostly entering in the entrepreneurship, that is from the age to 31 to 45 years. And female if we see the status of female entrepreneurs, very less females are involved in this activity. Near about in 2015, only 9% females are in this entrepreneurship activities. Now, day by day, this scope is also increasing. Therefore, our role is to motivate the girls faculty girls students as well as faculty members, because there is a scheme under there is a scheme of government under which faculty can also go for startups, but keeping the limit at institutes policies, by maintaining the institute's policies. Then whenever the scenario in India, if we have seen that most of the startups have very high mortality rate, and the mortality rate, there are so many reasons, because again, one of the reason is that we haven't done rigorous study about the market. Then there are some financial aspects that has not studied. Therefore, majority of the startups get die within 2 years of the inception, and therefore 55 of failed startup have received funding, and 20% of the failed startup graduates from incubators and accelerators. So this is the scenario. That means, and for that purpose only, we are following this lecture series where we are going to develop step-by-step strategies for developing the ecosystem for involving the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. So, how this ecosystem or culture in higher educational institutes can be developed. So first is establishing and building of an innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. So institution, intern, faculty members are playing a major role in inculcating this ecosystem amongst the students by encouraging them for problem identification, participation in various ideas and project competitions, prototype model development. Then next stage is to business model developments, and ultimately once you will develop the business model plan, then next stage is to generate the or go towards the entrepreneurship. Therefore, National Innovation and Startup Policy (NISP) stated by AICT is going to help building innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in the institution. Second point is streamlining the existing IE ecosystem. So whatever existing ecosystem means our, now I will talk in terms for our institute only, because in our institute already IIC cell is there. So with that IIC cell, how we can streamline this innovation and entrepreneurship activities further. Again, how we can strengthen the current means innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. We have to think for that. And ultimately, who will think? We teachers are going to help for the same. Now, the question arises how to generate or how to form this ecosystem, which should be developed ideally. So consider the educational institution or universities. So for that higher educational institution and universities, who is the foundation? Our scientists, entrepreneurial scientists, faculty members and students are playing the foundation role for the same, because major stakeholders are faculty members and students only, where students and faculties come and spend major of their time, because college hours are 10 hours. So major time students are in touch with faculty members, either in teaching learning process, doing research or knowledge creation. Therefore, every higher educational institution, scientists, faculty and students are the base foundation in forming this ecosystem. These institutions face real market challenges and problems through industry interactions, MOU with various stakeholders and through corporate linking, because our institute has also made so many MOUs. So with respect to that MOUs, again, we are going for 1 month training program, faculty members. With that, we can go more we can get more industry exposures, and with that, we will get the current problems. Again, Second is the second part of the community is your society. Second part of the community is our society. So real market challenges and problems through industry supports, corporates and private partnerships and linkage we are getting. Another way, another community is your real societal challenges. So that's why every alternate year we are organizing the techno societal conference. So real societal challenges and problems of local society and economy that we can go for. That means there are two aspects: either we can go for industrial problems or the current problems which are facing the society. And again, thinking for it is required that we should not think that this is electrical person, mechanical person. We have to go work collaboratively or interdisciplinary. So there are for generating this foundation, there are 4 pillars. First pillar is the innovation development. First, we have to develop the culture of innovation. So when such relations with the industry and society has been developed, and then the culture of innovation get in. That means what we have to go for now, as a discussion of this point, what we have to go for, we have to generate more and more industry interactions as well as societal by going for gram visit, etc. So institution will automatically build up with the capacity of developing innovations. Also, institute will develop an ecosystem where stakeholders will get chance to entrepreneurship exposure, skill, capacity, and mindset development through continuous training program. So entrepreneurship, exposure, and skill developments means teacher, like our EDP program. EDP program we are carrying for third year students. So such many programs should be conducted so that the students will get exposure and they will aware what actually is going on in the market, and for that whatever required skill development is required, by conducting various training sessions we can develop their skills. Then the third pillar is startup services and support facilities. So for startup services, we can the capability of the students through this training program will develop the startup services. Then fourth pillar is technologically commercialization. So technology commercialization is not that much easy, where the students do not want to go for startup means the students who do not want to go for startup, they can go for technology transfer. That means like a patent or commercialization of the technology through licensing. So these are the 4 pillars for developing the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. So who will do that? Who will inculcate this culture amongst the students and faculty member? For that, a coherent policy guidance and resource support is required from the institution management. Again, universities, some cases, so whenever we are deciding the ecosystem or policy development, institutes has developed a policy to streamline this activity, and some fund has been allocated from institute side also. And again, another way we can go for writing the proposals, and from other universities and central universities and state level universities, you can get fund for initiating these activities. Again, in such cases, if either these 2 things will not be possible, then we can go for collaborating with the universities. Even during our PhD works, we can using the lab of BRC, IITs, etc. So by using their infrastructure, you can go for developing the products. So who are the members for them? The students and faculty startup. So some students are interested in doing the startups, and some faculties are guiding or motivating the students to go for startup. Then second is student faculty innovation. Some faculty members, because suppose every year 600 students are passing from our BTech, so all will not go for startup. All will not go for innovation. Some will go for higher education. Some have mindset of doing their PG, PhD. So they will go for innovations and publishing the papers or writing the patents. Others will go for startup. So we have to develop the culture in the students, so that suppose every year 600 students are passing, so minimum 10 to 20% students should go or go for innovative and entrepreneurship activities, and they can go for startup. So now how this policy or how this ecosystem can be implemented in our institute is that these innovation ambassadors along with IIC coordinator is playing a main role in defining the policy. That means higher hierarchy peoples, that is management, then deans, HODs, then innovation ambassadors will help in generating or forming the policies for the same, and the persons or the stakeholders who are actually going to implement that policies are us, we faculty members. Therefore, these faculty members have to go for innovation student enterprises. So when this community interact, so these students, faculties, as well as these collaborative institutes, then industries, as well as societal persons, when they will interact with each other, then we can go with few startups and few interest we can develop among the students. And when this community interact on regular basis, then innovation student enterprises will create, and the ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship will be developed on long-term basis. This process. So a network ecosystem will be developed by interinstitutional partnerships and network with regional and national startup ecosystem. So, but who is playing the important role in developing this ecosystem? Faculty members are, because management or governing bodies will just develop, form the policies, but actual implementation part is done by teachers, us, and again, because whenever we are doing any new thing, students are always hesitated or denied. Nobody want to break their comfort zone. Therefore, first role of the faculty members is to generate the awareness of this innovation ambassador activities amongst the students, motivate them to participate in various activities. Therefore, with respect to that, as a project to product coordinator of the institute, I appeal everybody that we have now started with this activity, that minimum 5 product should be developed by each department. Like that way we can make a policy decision, so that we can streamline the ecosystem in our technical institution. So this National Innovation and Startup Policy for students and faculty members has been developed in 2019. So it was previously that policies exist, but which will taking care of only technical institution, and it was mainly used for technical institution and it is named as AICT Student Startup Policy. But now in NISP developed a policy for all type of institution, that is technical, non-technical, private, government universities, affiliated institutes. Means this NISP policy is open to all type of institutes. The policy intend to guide HEIs to promote students and faculty driven innovations and startups. It will instrumental in leveraging the potential of students for problem solving and entrepreneurial mindset, and promoting a strong intra and interinstitutional partnerships. So I talked about how to develop the ecosystem for the institution to develop the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. So, but whenever we are doing certain new things, that time we are always go with vision. So what is the vision to develop these policies or to develop this ecosystem? Then what is the path? What are the objective? Then what are the steps to be carried out? That we will see one by one. So we will go by higher considering certain vision. So vision for national development is that increase the employment rate through self-employment is our vision. And with respect to that vision, so we have to develop a vibrant and dynamical startup ecosystem in higher educational institution. So this is our long-term objective, and to achieve that long-term objective, what objective we are setting as outcomes for like our course objective, what objective we are setting up. That is, first objective is developing a critical mass of motivation to the students and faculties with entrepreneurial orientation and skill. Because just talking about entrepreneurship innovation will not serve the purpose, because we to develop that culture, students and not students, faculty members have this skills, means faculty members have that skills who are actually going to train the students. Therefore, skill development, we have to go for certain skill development programs. Then second is building innovation and early stage enterprises by supporting and enabling access to resources and facilities at institution. Again, just developing the skill by the teacher will not serve the purpose, because institution has to give the certain resources, funds, as well as some ecosystem has to be developed to do the research, as well as develop the means models or projects, products. Then third part is in-house competency development to serve potential and early stage entrepreneurs, and strengthening the intra and inter-institutional linkage with ecosystem enables at different level. So if these four pillars, or if these four blocks, if we are able to inculcate in any of the institution, then the objective of generating vibrant and dynamic startup ecosystem is definitely going to be possible. Third is what are the outputs or short outputs that are desirable, that is aware and motivate students and faculty members is the first part while developing this ecosystem. Second is deliver education on innovation and entrepreneurship, because students are unaware of all these activities, because even while participating in IISc contest, we are just saying them submit the ideas, but why we are doing this, what is the benefit of this, how benefits, short-term benefits as well as long-term benefits for the individual as well as to the faculty member, as well as in intern institution and nation, that we have to aware the students and faculties for the same. Then second part is dedicated faculties and infrastructure and ability to access the resources, either whatever available with the institution or with the external resources. Third is in-house trained professionals and active advisory and mentoring system, because if in our case, if in-house trained professionals are not there, then like as I suggested the schemes of NISP, in that this innovative means policy stated by government, their trained persons can come at our institute for mentoring us. Then interdepartmental linkage and interinstitutional linkage. So as I told you, all has to work hand in hand, because this whenever we are developing any ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship, it will not happen by individual department or individual institution. Therefore, they have to work together. So what activities has to be done? We have stated what is vision, what are the objective, long-term objective, what are the specific objective, then what short-term outcomes or deliverable outputs we are getting, and then to get that short-term deliverable outputs, what activities has to be carried out. First is organizing workshop, lectures, seminars, e-talk, boot camps, etc. Then conducting online and classroom educational and training and mentoring, and integrating experiential learning. they have to go for experimentation. Then second is establishment of startup cell, scout and recognize support ideas, innovation and startup. And third is repository built up. Then third is set up advisory service expert pools, training, FDPs, EDP session, incentive for mentors and experts. Then fourth is the research studies and advocacy programs. And fourth is mentor startup cell network, business and referral services, convergence and leverage government schemes and programs, because many schemes we are getting funds from the government. So making awareing the students and faculty members what's under what schemes we can get that much fund, so that they can go for more and more ideas development and actually implementation. And organizing such contest for like idea submission, then prototype submission, such activities has to be carried out in interdepartmental events. So, and for that, institute should develop certain budget, either at least for innovation and startup, 1% or 2% budget for their annual budget. Then what resource allocation can be done, resources allocation can be done. Institute level, we can use any time, but other institutional by tying up with the MOUs. Again, what human resources, how we can develop for training and mentoring the students and faculty members, and what material, equipment, etc. we are getting from inputs as a various inputs for developing this ecosystem. So the first areas, sir, shall I continue for next 10 minutes? 5 minutes?
Okay, madam.
No problem.
Thrust area for NISP. So what are the thrust area? First area is HEI strategies and governance for promoting innovations and entrepreneurship. That means the higher level hierarchy peoples like management, then deans, HODs, they have to generate the strategy for promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. In that, creating innovating pipelines and pathways for the entrepreneurs. Then second is building organizational capacities, human resources and incentives, because when we can give incentive for student also for doing the startup activities, but while doing all these things we have to take care that the faculty members who is involved in that innovative activities should not get, means his academic quality education should not get hampered due to this innovative and entrepreneurship activity. Then we have to decide certain norms for faculty and students for driving the innovation and startup policies. In that, we can give incentives to the faculty members as well as students, because it may happen that sometimes a faculty is pursuing PhD and he is doing his research. So that infrastructure and startup policy, whatever infrastructure is required, their overlapping may take place, and due to which so many conflict may take place. Therefore, certain policies has to be decided for giving the incentives. Incentive means every time incentive may not be in terms of money. That incentive may be giving 2 days span in per week for that faculty for doing the innovation activities and submitting this plan to that innovation, that this is my plan, this is target date, this is my action plan, time deadline, and these are the financial things required for carrying out these activities. Then there are certain norms has to be decided for faculty startups. Then third part is incubation and pre-incubation support. So as I told you, so whenever we go for ISA activities, we go up to certain level, up to third or fourth level. If our students' product are going to be, then we can go for pre-incubation center. And once after 3-4 years, when our system is developed and we can go for business model, then you will get a incubation center grant from AICT and certain funds for that developing that incubation center also. Fourth part is IP ownership rights for technology development at EHEI. This is again another aspect. As I told you, whenever certain students are or researchers are doing their work, they are publishing or they are going for IPR, intellectual property rights, for patent filing, then that ownership right, suppose sometimes person is using all institute infrastructure and he is expecting that IPR right should be with him. So this should not happen. Or sometimes faculty is doing everything by his own without using any infrastructural facility. That time institute has also permit him to file a patent on his own name. Then third is pedagogy and learning intervention for supporting innovation and startup. So again, to build up all these things, we have to go for teaching, learning schemes, trainings, various contexts where students can participate in all these activities. So, this teaching learning process and supporting students, again encouraging them for participating all these activities. So then if all these activities has to be thrust areas has to be implemented, then what is the impact of this building of this culture has to be assessed. So this can be done with the help of ARIA, and there are 9 broad parameters having 48 indicators who will search in various aspects where your institution is lying on in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. Then, so how to adopt this NISP policies in higher educational institutes? That there are 3 parts in that. First is implementation, means policy formulation at institute level, how to implement it. Then actually policy implementation part comes under IIC activities. So how to implement these policies? Who will decide that? Various innovation activities will decide how to implement that policies. And once this policy impact creation has been developed, then it will come out as Atal ranking of the institution. Atal ranking of the institution, that means NISP helps in developing the policies. Then policies are implemented through IIC, Institute Innovation Council cell, and then we can see how NISP and IIC are integrated and correlated with each other, because these 2 activities will generate a certain impact, and out of that impact or output of this policy implementation will create impact or input in getting the Atal ranking to the institution. So for creating that impact, we have to focus on key performance indicators set by ARIA, Atal ranking of institution on innovation achievements. ARIA ranking should be achieved through IIC activities, and these 3 programs works hand in hand. So there are certain policy formations in that. So there are 16 policy formations processes are there, out of which I have highlighted only 4. That is, HEI is to join with NISP policy companion and nominated NISP coordinators. That means first institute has to decide policy, and once that policy has been decided, and they will go for go as a policy companion, then NISP will nominate coordinator for this policy adaptation. Then second part is formation of these policies through committee, formulation of these policy committees at institute level. Third is formulation of innovation and entrepreneurship policies at HEI level. And fourth is awareness generation among students, faculties, and staff at HEI level. This is about the policy formation. Next is the policy implementation. Policy, how to implement these policies. This policy can be implemented by teaming up with IIC of the institution, then planning the programs and activities, interventions to achieve the objective, then setting the key performance indicators for the action plan. That means in the action plan, finance. Second is the time span, as well as resource development, resource allocation, uh, creating the funding, uh, means getting the funding from various agencies, and collaborative working. These all are the key performance indicators. And for that, we have to decide the action plan, then finalizing the action plan and resource allocation, then participation. Once these policies has been implemented, then it's the impact creation is Atal ranking of institution on innovation achievement. So now in the month of September, so for this ARIA 2022, institution can apply for. So thank you all. So being a project to product coordinator as well as ISA ambassador, I will urge each and every faculty member to motivate the students. First, faculty should come out of their comfort zone. They should invite the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship among themselves first by thinking differently, and then implementing it to the students by making or developing more and more products. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for wonderful presentation on innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives. Now, I request participants, if you have any questions, you can ask the questions related to this presentation. Hope no one is there, like no one is interested to ask the question. Sirsagar madam, can we start your session?
Yes, please, sir.
You please start your presentation.
Actually, I have shared with the
Parke sir, please
Parke
share
sir
the
will present.
madam's presentation.
Matpati sir, may I take privilege to introduce myself to save time, if you
No
don't
problem.
mind?
No problem, madam.
Yeah. Actually, we are little late. So
Okay.
I myself will take a privilege to introduce myself, that everybody in this session is from our institute itself. So, all the members. Still, as a formality, I would like to introduce myself.
Madam, your voice is disconnected.
Your voice is not there, madam. Hello.
I'm
Sirsagar madam, your voice is breaking.
In this forum. Slowly and steadily we will get more all the we will get habitual with this all these activities. I'm sure about that. So I will come to the point now. Actually, it's quite difficult to listen me after this dynamic presentation by the dynamic faculty member, Professor Dr. Tamboli madam. Still, I request everybody to pay attention for next 20 minutes. I will give you insights about the NEP and the research, innovation and entrepreneurship in this session. So once again, good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon to all the respected guests, coordinators, and all my fellow colleagues present over here. I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards the AICT who is bringing such a nice sessions for we faculty members, and also I'm thankful to the SWERI and especially our principal Dr. BP Ronge sir for motivating us and allowing us to arrange such sessions or the events in our college for us. At the same time, I would like to take opportunity to congratulate our innovation ambassador head, Dr. S.B. Tigre. So we are the 10 faculty member in our institute are the identified as a innovation ambassador by the AICT. Okay, so with this formal introduction, I would like to start my session, and I would like to. I am going to deliver a talk today on the topic. Parke sir, have you started your my presentation? Parke sir?
No, madam. That presentation is not with me. When you have said?
Tigre sir, arrange presentation. Can you please? Actually, Tigre sir told me that you are going to arrange.
I will share, no problem, ma'am.
Tigre sir, my presentation.
I will share, madam. I am sharing.
Okay. Yes, please. We are already getting delay.
Is it visible?
Yeah, sir. It is visible. Okay, guys. I'm going to deliver a talk today on the national education policy, that is research, innovation, and entrepreneurship for higher education institutes, and it is through a perspective of National Education Policy 2020. We have heard a lot through different sessions about the national education policy, and today I'm going to give you a perspective with the national education policy perspective with the research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So, okay. So still before coming to the main topic, I will bring to the notice of you all something about the history of the education policy. So once upon a time, that is in a 1930, that Mahatma Gandhi ji had a roundtable conference with all the members from the different sectors. And he has made a very important sentence over there. That sentence was like this: the beautiful tree of education was cut down by the Britishers. Therefore, today, India is far more illiterate than it was in 100 years ago. This was the situation in the 1930. And also he further mentioned that in that meeting itself, in that roundtable meeting in 1930, that the education policy developed by the British for India is creating a Babu culture. You know the Babu culture. What is the Babu culture? That culture, that education system was like this. That was just making the people ready to work for the Britishers, not for the own development, not for the country development. That was the biggest drawback of that education policy, and hence it was revolved. They have taken care of, the Britishers has taken care of that the technical and scientific knowledge was not complete. It was completely ignored by them, because they don't want to make us the knowledgeable and technically competent, so they can control us. That was the objective of the British. Even that the education was not capable to bring the global perspective. So how the country is going to be developed, that was critical. And hence the millions of parents and educators have raised the issues and requested for the development of the education policy. And hence it was developed in the 1986, and then it was implemented in 1992. And through that issues, they have requested, go back sir, the papers, parents and the educators or the youth has requested to bring the culture of education policy with these 4 points. What are these 4 points? These are the deep-rooted mental models of what education should be. Then there should be a rote learning of the models, then examination and competition models. That kind of still it was developed in that era. Go next, please, sir. So that
sorry
was
to disturb you,
earlier policy, and then
sir.
still there are the major problems in that policy. What are these major problems? It is severally fragmented. It is a fragmented kind of in a higher education system. It less emphasis on the development of cognitive and skills. Means actually in the higher education system there is a need to have the skill development, more competency is required, but still it was little lagging in the earlier culture. It was a rigid for the separation of disciplines in at the early stage. Means you know that after immediately after the 10th, immediately we are going to separate out the disciplines, and then one cannot change the direction. That is the current policy or the earlier policy, we can say. And there was a limited access, particularly in the social economical disadvantaged areas. Those are economically background is weak. For them it was quite difficult to go for the access of the new one. Is it? Sir, please change slide. Next.
Madam, 1 minute. Tigre sir, can you make it slideshow presentation?
Yes, sir.
हाँ
Yes.
सर. पूरा ही गया क्या?
Still it is not visible, sir.
Presentation, I think he has closed.
Now full screen.
No,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
So
it's
limited
fine.
access was there in the earlier. Yes, please go to the next slide. Less emphasis on research. These were the common problems. We also complex regulatory system, large affiliating universities resulting in low standards of the undergraduate education. These were the problems in the earlier education system. Please go to the next. Now we are going to talk more about the national education policy, that is 2020. The National Education Policy 2020 released in the earlier policy was released in 1986 and modified in 1992, and still there were the lot of problems as we have discussed in the earlier slide, and hence major changes have been observed still as compared to 1930. There was a lot of changes through the evolved policies of 1986. And the education policy is further needed to be modified as per the current scenario, and hence the NEP 2020 came into picture, and it was approved in the Union Cabinet of India on 29th July 2020. So National Education Policy 2020. So what is this? Actually, in this National Education Policy, there is a more focus on the elementary education, to a higher education, as well as for the vocational training in both rural as well as urban area. Also, it is focusing more on the technological development, more on the skill development, not only in the engineering or the technical field, but also whatever is the field of that education, there the people will get well developed and well skilled, and they can apply their knowledge. They can become a competent, holistic development of the student is possible in the National Education Policy, that is 2020. Okay, so the policy aims to transform India's education system by the 2040. Means you know that whenever we plant the tree, there is not possible to have the fruits immediate on the next day or the next month. It takes time. So though it is implemented in a 2020, but the most sweet fruits we will start getting in the 2040. That is the prediction of the scientists and the great educationalist. Okay. So what is the vision of the National Education Policy 2020? Okay, so there are the multiple visions and very strong visions kept for the education policy of 2020. And the first one is the education system that contributes to an equitability, focused on the equitability, vibrant knowledge society, to develop the deep sense of respect towards the fundamental rights, duties, constitutional values, bonding with one's country, and conscious awareness of one's role and responsibility in changing world. Okay, instills the skills, values, and dispositions that supports responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizens. Means what is required for the development of country, that is being taken care in the new policy. That kind of development is possible, taken care among the students. Means in respect of education, ever the one line is made by all the great educationalists, that when you want to plan for a one day sorry, when you want to plan for a year, you can plant rice and then get the food. If you want to plan for 100 years, you can plant a multiple number of trees, big trees, and then you will get the outputs. But if you want to plan more than 100 years, you should educate the people. And hence, whatever such developments are coming, they are trying to inculcate among the students, and definitely that is going to be a reflect education policy's vision. So now I'm going to tell you some key principles of national education policy. Next one. And what are these key principles? So the first key principle is uniqueness. Every individual is having their own capabilities. Okay, and it is not like this. Everybody's
Your voice is not there, ma'am.
Yes, madam. Now you are audible. Now you are audible.
Yeah. Sorry, there was actually disturbance. So that identifying the uniqueness of the individuals, and then they're creating a holistic development of students. That is what the key principle of this. And mainly they have focuses on the critical development of the students. Okay, through the critical development, one can means we can say to encourage the logical decision, and then making the new innovations, and then sustain in the area. It is possible through the new education policy. Okay, it is also continuous review based on sustained research and regular assessment by the educational experts. Okay, now equity and inclusion as a of all educationalist decisions to ensure that all the students are able to thrive in the education system, and the community participation, use of technology for developing, for reviewing the barriers and getting developed again and again, educational planning and its management. All things are possible in the national education policy, that is 2020. Next. So this national education, as I rightly mentioned, that the national education policy is going to be envisions a complete overall and re-energizing the higher education system. In the higher education system, the mainly focus of today's presentation focus is towards the higher education system. And higher education system must form the basis for knowledge creation and innovation by their contributing to a growing national economy. Okay, so that the development of the people will be there, and that's why the national education policy is being identified as a mission, not the only policy. And what is the mission of national education policy is to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including the vocational education. Okay, so that will be the greatness, that is the greatness of new educational policy. So please go to the next slide. Next. Okay, so the research, innovation, and entrepreneurs. So that, you know, the curriculum, university assigns us a curriculum and asks us to complete that curriculum in a time span, given time span. So what happens because of that? We focus towards the development of students in that way only, to read, mug up, write the questions, get the marks, get the scores, and get the big scores, like this way. But this education policy wants to create the research intensive universities where we can focus along with the academics towards the research. Okay, next. So the ancient India, there was a research. It is not like this. Now only we are performing the research. In ancient era also there was a research being performed, and that they have developed the world-class institutions where they're like the Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, Vallabhi, like these great institutions were there. So in these institutions, the great scholars also has been developed in the last earlier ancient era, like the Charaka, then Surushta, then Varamila, Bhaskaracharya, Brahmagupta, Chanakya. Likewise, great scholars were developed in the earlier era also, and their contributions to the world knowledge in diverse fields like the astronomy, mathematics, metallurgy, medical science, surgery, civil engineering, architecture, shipbuilding, and navigation, yoga. So like many of the times we also think that how this has been developed by them, how it is quite difficult to understand now, and they have developed. That is the proof that not only that today there is a research, it was also being done in the ancient era also. Please go to the next. Don't worry, we will manage everything. So the approach of to energize the research programs, what is the approach of this new NEP? In short, I would like to tell you that master's and doctoral programs will also be significantly enhanced by being located in a vibrant multidisciplinary committees, by breaking of the silos. Okay, means we are not supposed to be a rigid. There are very much lot of liberty are there in the new policy. Focus is there, research and coursework on more interdisciplinary subjects, relevant research, which will help to regional research development. Means whatever the regional problems, since long time we are talking in our institute about the regional research, and that is being included in the as one of the key factor in the national education policy under the research perspective. Okay, so the doctoral students may be engaged significantly in providing academic supports to the undergraduate students. Okay, so next please. Coursework for the graduate programs will aim to develop the relevant skills in what they are going to perform the research. And also they will be able to develop the ethics in the students, not only the education. Okay, and very important thing I would like to tell you once again that we as accredited institutes are not facing any problem, but henceafter only the accredited institutions will be allowed to have the PhD programs, research programs. Okay, and National Research Fellowship will also provide prestigious fellowships to the postdoctoral fellows to pursue higher quality research universities, only to the research universities. And Now we will talk about the research programs. So little statistics over here I'm going to tell you. HIS will have the flexibility to offer different designs of master's program. They can develop their number of programs. Means when we think rigidness in the universities as compared to the IITs is there lot of. I don't know how many of you have studied about that. But I as a science faculty and being entered in the engineering field, I have studied a lot of barriers in the common universities as compared to the IITs. Okay, so there may be a 2-year program with the second year devoted entirely to research for those who have completed the 3 years bachelor's program. And for the students completing a 4-year bachelor program with the research, there could be a 1-year master's program. Means this is included, but where it is included? In only engineering field. But that will be implemented all other programs henceafter through the NEP 2020. Okay, there may be an integrated 5 years bachelor's or the master's program by means it is an integrated program. How come it is an integrated program? There will be a 4 years bachelor's degree and 1 year master's degree. That will be an integrated program. And through that, they will be able to go for the PhD. Okay. Next. Now, what is the internationalization under this NEP 2020? It will provide greater mobility to the students in India who may wish to visit, study at abroad and transfer credits to or carry out research at institutions board. Research teaching collaborations and faculty student exchanges with high quality foreign institutions. Then high performing Indian universities will be encouraged to set up the campuses in other countries and similarly selected universities. Those from among the top 100 universities in the world who will be facilitated to operate in India. Next, please. So this scenario, I'm not going to tell more about this. Only I will tell you about the, we are lagging. We are at the rank of 52 and where China is at the 14. And what is the motive that of NEP 2020 to aspire within top 25 in a next 5 years. Okay. So despite of the critical importance of research and innovation investments in India, there is no that much development in India as compared to the United States and the South Korea. And hence, through this, it may be possible with this NEP 2020. Please go to the next. Research in the arts and humanities along with the innovations in the science and social means until now we are focusing research in the technical area, scientific area, applied sciences, but hence after this will be allowed, this will be possible to have the inventions in the music, in the writing skills, in the dance, everywhere it is possible. Okay. So policy also talks more about pivoting education towards learning about how to think critically and solve problems, how to be creative and multidisciplinary, and how to innovate, adapt, and absorb new material in the novel and changing fields. Next. So the here implementation of entrepreneurial vision by the higher education policy. There are more expectations by the higher education institutes in respect of research and development. Okay, and through that we should ensure maximum participation of students. We should collaborate with the different incubation units. We should connect to this different entrepreneurs, and we should promote students to become an entrepreneurs. And then the entrepreneurial agenda should be the responsibility of senior person at the level of dean and director of that particular HAI. Okay. So what is the role of pedagogy in this? It aims to facilitate a pedagogy that makes education experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry-driven, discovery-oriented, learn-centered, and the flexible one. So thus in a sense of problem solving and attitude of innovation in the children instead of indulging in herd mentality is possible through this. Okay, the innovative pedagogy transforming teaching learning process will be enable experiential learning, integrated pedagogy, and then promotion of peer tutoring, bagless days for the students, use of and integration of technology. So the creativity and innovation and entrepreneurs, we talk more. Go to the next, please. Next. We talk more about the entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation. Simply, in a simple language, I would like to tell you what is the innovation, what is creativity is the ability to develop new ideas and to discover new ways of looking at the problem and opportunities. Whereas innovation is the ability to apply the creative solutions to those problems and the opportunities in order to enhance the people's. Okay, so whereas what is the entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship are those who marry their creativeness and the innovations. Simply, one should get married, the entrepreneur should get married with the innovation and creativity, and then only the successful entrepreneurship is possible. Okay, next. So I have taken a lot of time. I would like to give a concluding remark of this as a NEP 2020 has balanced and inclusive outlook and is believed to have serial effects, then especially on higher education, which is going to draw a new roadmap for young minds. The stage has been set up to embark on the journey and galloping towards a new horizon, trampling over all adversaries. Okay, so this is, I tried to present myself on the national education policy through the perspective of the research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Thank you, all of you. Thank you very much, all the coordinators and the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for making aware about the National Education Policy 2020. So I request faculties, if you have any questions, you can ask the questions. Okay, if no questions are there, can we conclude the session here, madam? Tigre sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you
Hello.
one and all.
Hello.
Yes.
Ji,
Tekale sir.
yes, actually, I would like to ask to Madam one question. Ma'am,
Yes,
am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
You are audible.
Actual question is, rightly Madam is mentioned very well, but whether this NEP is a challenge for us or we can see it as an opportunity.
Basically, very nice question, sir. Actually, definitely new things are always challenges. But we as a technocrat has to convert that challenges into the opportunities. And once we get, currently we are facing that NEP is very complicated thing. We are not able to understand. But things becomes easy as time passes because we are not still can have a vision of that NEP. And once we will get that complete vision through such a sessions, definitely we will be enjoy the NEP 2020.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Kadam, madam, you can.
Kadam madam, you want to ask a question? Sanjeevani Kadam madam.
No, sir.
Your hand raise is there.
Go ahead, madam. Go ahead, madam.
By mistake it was there.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Hello. I think if no questions are there, we will close the session here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, one and all, for patience listening for the day one sessions. So we will again reassemble today at the same time for the day 2 sessions. So thank you one and all. Thank you Sirsagar madam for your nice presentation. And thank you all the participants for
Thank you all of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. We are going to close the session here. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.